In 1940, four teenagers in France stumbled into a cave and found paintings that were 17,000 years old. The paintings were so extraordinary that the French government opened the cave to the public. Within 15 years, the visitors were killing the art. So they sealed the cave forever. On September 12, 1940, four teenagers and a dog were exploring the woods near the village of Montignac in southwestern France. The dog, a terrier named Robot, fell into a hole. When the boys climbed down to retrieve him, they found themselves in a cave. And on the walls of that cave were paintings that would change everything we thought we knew about prehistoric humans. The paintings were extraordinary. Not crude stick figures or simple handprints, but detailed, dynamic, breathtaking works of art. Horses in mid-gallop. Bulls with muscles rippling beneath their hides. Deer with antlers so precisely rendered that biologists could identify the species. There were nearly 600 paintings and 1,500 engravings covering the walls and ceilings of interconnected chambers. They had been created approximately 17,000 years ago, during the Upper Paleolithic period. The artists had used mineral pigments, iron oxides for reds and yellows, manganese dioxide for blacks, mixed with animal fat and applied with brushes made from animal hair, blown through hollow bones, or smeared with fingers. Some sections of the cave had been scaffolded. The artists had built wooden platforms to reach the ceiling. These were not decorations made by primitive people. These were masterworks created by artists with technique, planning, and an understanding of perspective that would not appear again in European art for 15,000 years. The discovery was announced to the world, and by 1948, the cave was open to the public. Visitors poured in, first hundreds, then thousands per day. The French government installed electric lighting, built concrete pathways, and widened the entrance to accommodate the crowds. The cave became one of the most visited tourist attractions in France. And then the paintings began to die. The first sign was a green discoloration that appeared on the walls in the early 1950s. Algae, fed by the carbon dioxide exhaled by thousands of visitors and nourished by the artificial lighting, was growing on the painted surfaces. The cave's atmosphere, which had been stable for 17,000 years at a constant temperature and humidity, was being disrupted by the body heat, breath, and moisture of the crowds. By 1955, the problem was critical. A white calcite film was forming over the paintings, obscuring the details. In some areas, the paint itself was flaking away from the limestone. Fungi appeared. Bacteria colonized surfaces that had been sterile for millennia. In 1963, the French government made a decision that was both necessary and devastating. The cave was closed to the public permanently. The electric lights were removed. The concrete pathways were torn out. The entrance was sealed. A climate control system was installed to restore the cave's atmosphere to its prehistoric state. The paintings had survived ice ages, floods, earthquakes, and 17,000 years of geological change. They could not survive 15 years of tourism. Access to the cave is now restricted to a handful of scientists who enter for a few days each year under strict protocols. They wear sterile clothing. They limit their time inside to prevent CO2 buildup. They monitor the cave's atmosphere with sensors that measure temperature, humidity, and gas concentrations to the decimal point. To satisfy public demand, the French government built Lascaux II, an exact replica of the two most decorated chambers, created by artists who spent 11 years painstakingly reproducing every line and pigment. It opened in 1983, 200 meters from the original cave. A second replica, Lascaux IV, opened in 2016, featuring reproductions of the entire cave system. The replicas are impressive. Visitors consistently describe them as moving and beautiful. But they are copies. The original paintings, created by human hands 17,000 years ago, preserved by accident in a sealed cave, and nearly destroyed by the very people who came to admire them, sit in darkness behind a sealed door. The cave is monitored continuously. In 2001, a new fungal outbreak was detected, a white mold that spread rapidly across several panels. Scientists spent years developing treatments. The mold was controlled but not eliminated. It remains a threat. The fundamental problem is unsolvable. The paintings exist because the cave was sealed. The moment humans entered and altered the environment, even with the best intentions, they began a process of destruction. The only way to truly preserve the paintings is to ensure that no human being ever enters the cave again. And so the most extraordinary art gallery in human history sits empty, in the dark, behind a locked door in the French countryside. The paintings are there. The horses still gallop. The bulls still charge. The deer still graze. But no one sees them. No one may ever see them again. 17,000 years of darkness, a few decades of light, and then darkness again. Forever. If you found this fascinating, subscribe for more stories like this. We post new videos every week.